I'm Felina.
And I'm Summer.
And you are listening to Broken Broken.
Because we're both.
The podcast about living your best life by getting real.
Hey, broken people. This is Summer. This week we have a very special extended episode for you. I recently was invited to record on location in Tulsa for the Women of Color Talks podcast, which is hosted by Carmen White Eagle, and she airs a live feed every other Thursday, so check it out. This is a video live feed, so for those of you who are just streaming the audio, be aware that you can always go to YouTube and see the actual video and see what we're actually talking about. So I hope you guys enjoy it.
Walk Talks. We're going to let everybody build up. How are you doing? I'd love my guest to go ahead and introduce herself. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
All the way from Oklahoma City. Would you like to introduce yourself? Introduce your identification of a woman of color, and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, my name is...
How we know each other and all that.
Okay, my name is Summer Wesley. I know Carmen from Matriarch. Yay. We're always right. We're always ready to shout out Matriarch
all the time. Matriarch. Anyway, okay, guys.
I am a Choctaw woman. I'm citizen of the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. So I'm a Native woman.
Right.
Obviously a mixed Native woman because I'm beige.
How do you identify?
But yes.
How do you identify? How do you feel in your heart? That's really
well. I was raised Choctaw. My mother's white, but I don't know anything about her people. So
just not Rachel Dolzering it, but we want to know how you feel and identify. Hey, Lance Beck. Hey, Electa. Hey, girl. Matriarch. Holler. Hi, Brianne. Hey, girl. What's up? Wait, what's up, girl? We're gonna keep building. We build an audience, and we just keep going because people watch this later on in the day. They watch it later on in life. I'm gonna stand up. Of course, I've got on yoga pants. That's my job. So first, I want to shout out to some sponsors, and I want you guys to go down to 11th and Vandalia to Bound for Glory Books. They are going out of business. But for you, that means half off all of the stuff. Tell them Carmen sent you from the Walk Talks. Chris, Dave, Ducky, and all of them will help you. And they have so much kick butt stuff there. It is again in Tulsa at 11th and Vandalia. So Bound for Glory Books is a sponsor. Blank Medical Spot, the Box Yard is a sponsor tonight. Look up BLANK Medical Spa. Thanks, Oklahoma Allergies. And then also we want to talk about the MMIW, MMIP campaigns in Oklahoma. Everybody, let's get dialed in. We need to mobilize for Aubrey. We need to move forward for some of the people that we are really looking forward to locating and or dissipating worry about and bringing awareness to the cause of MMIP, missing and murdered Indigenous people, and that also follows MMIW and the things of why I wear red nails my whole life. And I have a shout out for my beautiful niece, Olivia Ramirez, Olivia Gray. Oli got me these earrings, and they have a beautiful woman with a red dress. They're on birch bark. And I don't think she made these. I think she bought them from an artist. And I just think they're the most wonderful things. So shout out. And shout out to Jacob Nicacy Wind today for helping me out with the media contacts to get our trans friend Aubrey in the Grove area located. We want to know. So we'll get back to that later. And we're talking today. Summer brought up with me when I asked what would you like the topic to be fetishization and sexualization. And we just want to go into, everything from Land O'Lakes Indian women
yes,
to the squaw, one of the most offensive terms that a Native woman can be called, as though you are for trade or you are for barter.
You're an object.
An object, you are dehumanized, and therefore you are able to be traded. It's known as human trafficking, sex trade now. We have fancy words. So, guys, give us, let's see. Oh, my gosh. Clark, hey, babe. Dustin, hey, look, we've got all these. Oh, my gosh, Craig Darrenwater. We've got everybody in here, all the Jalelis. We've got all these people that are family and friends. So, welcome, guys. It's really, really, really good to see you. So, what are some examples of fetishization that you would talk about? How do you define fetishization personally?
Oh, I don't know. I was
It's okay.
actually
No,
express the
nothing. Never on the
definition.
pod. Never on the spot. Freudian slip. Anyway,
Right?
Carmen slip. Always,
Carmen.
always,
I like
always
that.
on the
I'm going
pod.
to start calling it that.
I know,
Carmen
right?
slip.
It's better. It's better. So, what do you think of as fetishization?
Well, I mean, as far as fetishizing, of course, it's generally, talking about sexualized, but it's usually based on a stereotype and not about you as a person. And so
Love that part.
cause,
Exactly.
objectification or, I know I mentioned to you, I don't have Tinder anymore, but when I used to do the online dating.
We talk a lot about
my
dating
gosh,
sites. Tell us about your dating online stuff. And guys, you can join in. You're not interrupting us native people that are terrified to accidentally chime in.
No,
we want you guys to ask us questions. We've built up a 9-person audience, so let's just, like I said, chime in, but I want you to share. Spill the tea. Spill the tea.
Well, prior to that, when I was dating people that I met in person, a lot of them were native guys, or there were white guys too, but that's a whole other issue. But when you know somebody before you start dating, they have a tendency to not. It's a different dynamic, and I noticed how often I was hearing, "Oh, I've always wanted to hook up with."
Sorry about my face while she's saying this.
So I've always wanted to hook up with a native woman, and I'm like, what?
You can say it the same way.
Do
they say
That's
hook up with?
That's usually what they say.
To try to be soft on it,
right? Because they're not trying to scare you off, right? There's that little manipulation that they do. Now, sometimes if it was guys I had already seen, then they might say, yeah, I want to fuck a native woman. And I'm just like, what does that mean? Well, I've heard, native women can't get enough sex and all of this, which, may be true of me as a person, but not all native women, so yeah, I found that very.
That's a fighting instinct in me.
Yes.
From the rugged Carmen that a lot of you may know and love.
We love it.
She's here, but it's like let's just get this out of the way so nobody gets hair pulled.
Right.
That just enrages me, infuriates me. I'm not going to call them out. Me and this person got to a really great place recently. It had to be over a dead friend. That's sometimes where the best reconciliation happens. The friend I had heard had called me a squaw to an ex-boyfriend in a bar.
Goodness.
I'm better. I don't usually go to bars that often or as often as I used to, and drinking or not drinking. Either way, I just heard this, and this was like a close friend from very young, a boy, a cisgender male, if we're going to get technical. And he had called me that, but the thing is my white boyfriend at the time, bless his heart, bless his sweet little drunk heart. That could be a number of people. I'm calling no one out. He didn't know how offensive it was. Yes, faces. Yes, faces.
Shocked. Yes.
And it's true. Guys, we're here to be as real as humanly possible. She came in from Oklahoma City, by the way. I need to observe her sweet son who came and is going to chauffeur mom back, not making sure that we're safe. We just travel mercies on everyone that travels here. But Summer came all the way from Oklahoma City. If you notice that I'm looking to over here on stage right, we've got another camera, so I have to give them the look of like. So if we basically humans are not supposed to feel or be commodities at all.
Right.
We're not supposed to be exchanged for things. Jasmine in the Disney movie did say, "I am not a prize to be won."
Yes.
It's like that one. She like that. You better give me some smiles. But how did that get to a point where we became automatically? So, okay, we're going to go deep.
Okay.
We're going to get deep. You ready to go deep?
Go ahead. Yeah, let's go.
Circle. Okay, so how far away, and I know my little sister T or Vicky is going to be like, yes, so and interested. How close is dating nowadays to what we would call prostitution in the days of yore? In the exchange of goods, this man can give me this, and this for this, and this, but yet I wrote down sex workers. Type of, and that's where I'm coming from. Because it's like, how much different is your life?
I actually feel like sex work is more straightforward. Right, because you
100%.
both know what you're dealing with. You make your straightforward arrangement, and that's what it is. And then dating feels like they feel entitled to what they want
I'm
without
sorry to laugh,
necessarily
but
an exchange.
my laugh is an empathetic laugh
Yeah,
of like, dissipate the rage.
right,
Like,
because it's true, and
crazy.
because they're expecting and they feel entitled, but they don't want to do so much, or they feel like if you want them to do whatever, like, you know, some women want dates or what have you, then they're like, I'm not buying you. I'm like, you know what? Why don't you give me the cash and we'll just take care of this transaction and be done.
Yeah, because I know I'm getting dick. You know you're
Right.
getting this.
We're
We know.
both
I
happy.
know.
We both go home.
We're splitting dinner. Okay, so in all the
Yeah.
my older Indian friend Alicia, I'm calling you out. I'm not calling you out by last name out there at the camp, but a really good friend of mine. I was like, well, I was on a date, but not a date. But we went and had dinner, and we engaged sexually. And she was like, oh, you mean a chew and screw? And I just, is that the best word for a not date
I have to
hookup where
remember
food
that.
is involved?
I usually
Chew and
don't
screw.
let, I usually
You're
don't let them
welcome.
take me to dinner
Slash.
because then I have to talk to them.
The locker talk that has happened. Oh yeah, by the way, we're coming live from Swan Lake from my house.
Yes.
I'm never going to commit suicide. So if anybody, it's because I'm so open of where I am. If I'm found dead, find
Somebody
find out what happened.
Right.
I will never leave on occasion or this and that. I got kidnapped. Find me. Anyway, who's paranoid? Anyway, so I want to try to draw back. Okay, so I'm going to bring, it's going to get hot. You ready to get hot in here?
Sure.
Get some hot tea? Let's heat it up.
All right, let's
Okay,
go.
the button's down because I got an electric pot. Thanks, Ashley Crawford, for my birthday. Either way. So, fetishization of people, I have a good point. So, a while back, I had a friend of mine, and I'm going to just leave her, like, whatever out of it right now. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
And I would say a friend of mine that turned into kind of a frenemy, a person that was around and tolerant of my existence.
Tolerant.
They allowed me. We get it. Thanks for the thumbs up, guys. And the frenemy was always really close with my boyfriend, and it really hurt and bothered me.
Okay.
And everybody's gonna start doing faces like, we know what you're talking
I know. I'm waiting to see the expression.
we know what you're talking. Anyway, but. So 1 year, and here's it's about to hit the fan. If like my old drinking buddy friends and my old high school friends and stuff. 1 year after we kind of weren't friends anymore because I apparently stayed friends with old friends I wasn't supposed to stay friends with. She was trying to define my friend groups, which you can't define people's friend groups. You can't define people's friend groups. They need to let them learn for themselves unless the person's a danger to them. Let them learn for themselves. So this person had introduced me to said other person and then was like, I don't like you because you still like that person. And said it to other people, other Native people for it to get back to me. And then Halloween rolls around and she decides it's time. Oh my gosh. I wish we don't see, the thing is our questions, we don't get it because it doesn't scroll for us.
I know, I just saw them.
Hey Ashley. Hey Lance. How are you? Troy Squires, Kathy Lackey, Jay, my beautiful, wonderful, sweet boyfriend, Justin Moi. We just were able to bring our relationship out of the closet. Laura, what's up? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited that we've got so many friends and so many families. Hey Chuck, what's up? I almost came by to see if you were there, but I was in a little hurry teaching some yoga over in the woot woot little Whittier district. Nothing little about it. Hey Ashley, I was just talking about you, girl. How are you? Patrick, what's up? Jack Hong, how are you? Hello, Ariel in the back. I know you're around. Hey, Anna Garrison, I miss you. Mwah. Casey, all the way. Tell Peyton I said hi. Okay, let's get up. Chew and screw. Oh my God, we knew. Okay, Alicia, my friend, chew and screw, best thing ever. So yeah, I just really enjoyed that. Dating sucks. Does dinner mean automatic BJs now? Lod, chew and screw, hot. Some of them, it's like beach, or it's like, oh, surf and turf. You're going down on me later, honey.
Right.
In the back
my answer is usually, I don't know you like that. When they
here's mine, my awkward. Sorry, got a boob touch. And that's something, by the way, I'm working on my unsolicited touch because I do a thing that I've learned almost in spa and things in connection and yoga is to try to connect.
Right.
And it's it goes against everything we're talking about.
Consent.
So, consent.
Well,
So-
consent. It's,
And back to Consent and Tea. If you haven't watched Consent and Tea, go back.
yes.
If you haven't watched our logged episodes before, go back. So let's hear it. We want to hear from you guys. Dating here blows. Oh, dating
Yes,
blows
Pri-
everywhere.
Hi, Priya.
Hi,
Priya's my
Priya.
friend.
Love
She
it.
comes on my podcast periodically to talk about dating. It's
Darren
really
says,
great.
did people actually date where we're from somewhere?
Well, as you know,
Hey, Heather.
Darren, I went to high school with Darren. Actually, all the way through school with Darren. So as you know, no, I did not date back in the day. I still don't really. You know,
Right.
I get what I want and then I move on.
Which seems
Which-
to
but
work.
it's straightforward.
It seems to be best.
But the thing is, I don't lie about it. Like, we go in, this is the agreement. Are you okay with that? If not, I'll move on. If you are, okay, let's have fun.
I love that because it seems like more women are having that. One of my closest best friends. Okay, so I'm going to get back to that other person.
Okay.
But one of my closest best friends said the most beautiful thing. And again, we're not a man hater group. We're not out here.
Maybe a little.
But a scotch. She said, so who are your heroes? And I was like, well, Native women, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, okay, not trying to prove anything, Indian. And we're best friends, so she can say that. And like, she goes, hey, Joe Chamberlain. Hey, Michael Barkley. Hey, Heather. She was like, okay. And I got down. I was like, well, boss broads, boss bitches. I was like Martha Stewart.
Really?
I said,
Martha?
I know. I said, Marilyn Iloff, who's a friend here in town, who's really one of my heroes. And I know
Okay.
a lot of people that work for her get mad because she has to take some of them anyway. But she's just such a boss, and she's never let down her beautiful, awesome ways. She's just a great person. I love her. I love her spirit and where she comes from. Y'all better keep them smiley faces going, okay? I won't say ugly. Don't be ugly, y'all.
Right.
Anyway, and I'm not kissing ass. I don't make any money off her anymore. But just I respect her anymore. I respect her, and she let me do my due. But so we're gonna come around back. Let's circle back around to the girl I was talking about. So Halloween rolls around as Halloween does for Native people and for people of color to get. I'm like scribbling, but she decided to, and I don't think I don't want to for agreement style. I don't want to make it about me. But she dressed up as a chola that year.
Oh. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, honey, no.
A chola.
Oh.
And not just a Mexican girl, not just a serape or, this and that, but I'm going to draw tattoos that, I have permanent inking on my body since I was like 16 that I've had to answer for. And yeah, it really hurt because it was like, you're going, but in the same way, like Cat Williams says, the hater is the goddamn joke. Pardon, guys. But it really, yeah, you were the joke that year.
Yeah.
I don't even need to say it to you, darling. We've buried that hatchet. Wound. We've buried that hatchet, and I need to get over myself, and I need to forgive because I think she's moved past it. But that really stabbed deep, and I don't think she realized what kind of cultural stab it was. So that was one of my fetishizations where I don't think she realized that she's causing harm to Latin women, Latinx women, Latina women that are going to be fetishized because you took the beautiful qualities that you see of those women and you put bandana around your neck, you put something under your eye, you co-opted a culture. And it hurts. And that's not the Halloween costume idea, but the reason the Halloween costume idea is fucked up. We're not monetized yet, so it's fucked up. Right. Is that you're using someone else's stereotypes.
Right.
Smoking
so
a long
perpetuating
phallic
those.
piece pipe. A lot of da-da-da-da. Hey,
Darren says,
Jade.
thank you next.
Thank you next, right?
Yes.
Exactly. Right? So smoking a long phallic peace pipe, sitting. I used to have one as my my mascot or whatever you want to call it, my avatar on MySpace back in the day, which was a cross-legged Native woman with like white skin and like I think red hair, and she's smoking like a really long pipe, and it's like, look what people think of like my particular people. So as you see my arm reach up, that means I'm scanning, and otherwise you need to just
I had a guy
like,
once
get
ask
mad.
me.
Hey, Lauren.
I had a guy once ask me if I dressed up like that for him. I'm like, no, I don't do race play. Sorry.
Race play is a thing. Let's talk about race play.
It is a thing. In fact, I had a guy contact me not too long ago. I used to hook up with him. Haven't seen him or heard from him in, I don't know, over a year and a half, long time. And all of a sudden he sent my phone. I'm like, okay, well, that's weird, but all right, I'll talk. And
Why
that's
not?
and apparently what he wanted was he wanted the two of us to engage in race play with a this white dude. And I'm like, I'm sorry, are you
Can
sure
I
you
ask
got the
a
right
question?
number? Yeah.
Was it for money?
No, it wasn't
Not
for
that
money.
it
It was just
necessarily
because
changes
you
it,
guys
but he just wanted to cuck it out or whatnot.
yeah, I guess so. That's part of his
Look
fetish.
up cuckolding if
Yes,
you would.
that- he
Take your
has-
own time.
He has a cuckolding
Homework.
fetish, but apparently he had tried some race play and wanted to try some more. And I'm like, well, you're gonna have to find someone else to help you with that because I don't do that.
What the cuck?
Yeah.
Is my favorite thing to
Yeah.
say about things like that when I'm just like not into a cuckolding situation, idea, or whatever. I was like, what the
Right?
cuck?
Yeah, no, I don't do
Um,
that. So it's like, you're gonna have to find somebody else. I'm sorry.
I had an ex. I primarily dated black men as
This was a black man.
as a practice.
Okay.
That I want to say, like, and I say a practice in the way that, like, I just wasn't trying to hear the same excuses, and I was being a generalist and a racist in the way of, I can say it, I was like, white dudes get drunk, they take you for granted, they don't show up for dinner. It's just that trauma from one particular person,
Okay.
from three particular people. And I joke, I'm like, you know, a little buildup from a few people will traumatize you and fuck you up a little bit naturally. Can I get a
Right.
yay man
It's
or
true.
a something?
You
I
have
mean,
to deconstruct
don't
that.
you
And it
feel
takes a
like-
lot of work.
deconstructing the old BS that you've been. Hey, Jen. Hey, Natalie. What's up? I meant to call you today. Either way, personal business later. So, what the cuck? And we're back with fetishization. So,
Right.
I feel like as a sex worker, I never got asked to do race play type things. But in our relationship, me and this gentleman that I dated before, it was almost like a thing. Oh, sorry, a thing that he, like, my legs just
Breaker
forever go on, and it was so. For a while, it was, I think, because I had been like, you know, I'm not into that, I don't know, let's see. And he was kind of pushing my boundaries, and that's what I liked about it at the time. And then I was like, you know, this doesn't feel good because I'm not racist, and there's no, like, taboo trigger, which I'm going to call that as of now. A taboo trigger is like something that you know is wrong that triggers you because it's bad and because it's naughty.
And a lot of people's fetishes are based on
thanks
that.
for the love. I love the love and letting me know things like that. Like, I don't want to say things that make other people or exclude people or, you know, stop them at the intersection. So tell me more about your fetishization and sexualization. How about that? How about just getting sexualized when you just want to be seen? When you just want to be heard, when you just want to be felt.
That's a common thing that all women have to deal with. Like, we have to think about what we wear when we go out anywhere. And then it's not just a safety issue. Like, when I go to a professional setting, people laugh at me for wearing my 5-inch heels because I wear 5-inch heels anytime I go to a professional setting.
Oh, 5-inch heels.
5-inch stilettos.
We both talk fast, so I love it.
I'm sorry. I wear my stilettos, and people laugh at me, and they're like, you just want people to look at you. I said, no, it puts me at eye level.
And so the fuck what if you did? So if you want people to stare right at your beautiful self.
That's true.
Pardon,
but
I didn't mean to yell.
That's true. But I do try to explain to people, this is a strategy. It puts me at eye level with the average man.
That's a very good point.
And so they will look me in the eye, and the way they treat me, and the fact they will listen to me when they have to look me in the eye. If they're being able to look down on me, they're looking right here. They will look right down my top.
I'm a little high, like, up here.
Yeah.
And then I'm a little high up here.
Up here too.
But at the same time, I'm like, you have great breasts, and like you're a beautiful woman, but it just doesn't mean that I have to automatically sexualize
right. Like,
you.
it doesn't just have to be here.
I'm a bisexual woman, and I don't naturally sexual. There's some women that I see and I have extreme, like, I will see like ruby rose or amber rose, or for some reason I have roses and things.
She has a rose fetish, guys.
Rose fetish. No, but with women, I love these like powerful, strong, androgynous. Like, I love those looks and things, and I am automatically like, yes, love. I know I'm not the only one. And then I also love me a hairy-legged, everything but the beard woman,
really,
with the backwards hat, and I love like a Voldyke or a I don't know, what should we call them, like a, not Coachella, that's insulting, but just like a new age, like, you know, type of person that identifies as it's more of like the skater dude look
Okay, yeah.
type of
I don't know
thing.
what the word
That's
would
a
be,
cute.
but
It's a cute. I say like I will say boy girl, and I just hope that's not like
how
offensive.
people like
But in
that
my
versus-
head, it's a little bit like a cute little boy girl, a cute little boy girl
yeah, a
moment.
little more what people stereotype as masculine.
Right. And I consider myself. Everybody has a hard time understanding. I, in my heart of hearts, consider myself a gender fluid person. I have the heart of, in our 5 sexualities. Look up an article on Native American 5 sexualities if you'd like to listen to the double Native woman walk. We had 5 different identifying sexualities. I am going to ask you, will you pull up the article so
Okay.
we can name them out? And I believe there's one that's woman with man's heart, and that is that's something that I like, and it's something that's been that's nice for me. And it's no hurry. You're good.
Do you know what what culture that was?
5 native sexualities
Is that what I
should
was
bring
gonna
out
find?
something like
Okay.
that. It's a great JPEG paper. Check out the papers, and I'm telling you another thing on clickbait
Is
stuff.
this it? Two
Read all the
spirits,
way.
one heart,
Yeah,
five
1
genders?
heart, 5 genders. 5 genders. Or sexual orientation isn't exactly the same at all. So either way, so I feel like a woman with a man's heart, and then at the same time I have big boobs. I wear padded bras. I don't always wear I don't bind all the time. I have at certain times. But the thing is that's how I identify. I do. Pardon if we have to look. I have to remind me tomorrow. Sorry, little
Computers are trying to update.
Lindros. Anyway, but that's how I identify. I don't feel like a woman all the time, but I feel the divine feminine within me. I feel in Pawnee we have morning, evening star, and things that I'm not even supposed to probably talk about. But
Right, we don't go too far.
we don't go too far into lore. But I really identify as both when I'm in my Kundalini yoga classes. The way that we put our locks on our hands and our mudras are different for men or women, and the one that comes naturally to me is generally keeping everything equal and straight. And it's just the way I am. So me and my niece had a beautiful conversation opposite Standing Rock, where I was able to finally have a open conversation with someone that didn't judge me about it and didn't have a face of like, what
are you talking
no
about?
wonder your
Shocking.
boyfriends kind of move on.
Oh God, has anybody actually said that?
Not
so much.
probably, but not right off. Okay, so we're gonna go to this really great article, and I'm gonna try to Carmen it off. Sorry, sometimes our bugs, and I won't bring out my special tennis racket of bug electrocution.
I have a couple of those. Those are fun.
It's the funnest thing I own, trust me. I don't want to hurt any of my Janist friends, anything. Okay, the New World is a romanticized term, inspired legions of Europeans and races to the places we live to search for freedom for oppression or regimes and treasures that would be claimed in the name of European nation.
Invaded.
Blah, blah, blah.
They
invaded.
mean we got invaded.
We got invaded. So the word two-spirit from the Ojibwe language in Winnipeg, Manitoba in 1989. Each tribe has their own specific term, but there is a seed of a universal term that the general population can understand. The Navajo refer to two spirits as, pardon me, Nalihi, which one who has transformed. Lakota, Winkte, indicative of a male who has a compulsion to behave as a female. And on and on, Ojibwe, on and on. And you can look this article up, and it's awesome. But the idea is that there were several identifications, and we did not turn our nose up. We didn't close the curtains on holidays. We didn't just exclude them from ceremony. The truth is that we treated those people as people that were burdened and blessed by two spirits within them. People were fed, people were kept, like they were like as a medicine person. Because I mean, there was a lot of management. And I think people that are of two spirits understand it's a lot to manage. It's a lot to have to think for other people so that you can just live. Managing your sexuality that's not cisgendered, Western American, even if it's just not cisgendered, you're gonna face some shit. It's gonna happen. And it sucks. And it's unfortunate we're trying to switch that.
And in our language, like I have people who contact me all the time to try to translate stuff, and a lot
so you
of
speak your language?
not well. Not well.
Well, I
Not
think
well.
you should rewrite your
I'm
dialogue
working
about
on
that.
it. I'm
You're
working on
on
it.
it.
I'm
There
working
you
on
go.
it. I lost a lot in just not using it after I got grown. I didn't have anybody to speak to after I moved away from back home, and so I've lost a lot of my syntax.
It's okay.
So working on getting the sentence structure back is kind of hard for me because now that I'm chronically ill, my brain doesn't work as well.
Chronic illness, people,
And
we
so-
all know.
So I talk. My aunt teases me. She's like, "You talk like a toddler." And I'm like-
Aunties, they're
I'm like, well, you
aunties,
treat me like one, so it's
can't
great.
live with them, can't live without them. Aunties.
But I have people contact me a lot to ask, how do you, what would our word be for trans?
Right.
We don't have a word for trans because you would just be what you are. If you're a trans woman, to us, you're just a woman.
You're Summer. I'm Carmen.
Right. You're a woman. You're a man. We didn't have,
just are.
because the oppression didn't exist that required that big transition to come, we never had to develop a word. Right. We didn't have to develop a word because it wasn't a big deal. You just were.
Hey, Natalie, we're gonna scroll. We're listening. We're Mateo, Verdell. Hey, Randy, Mary Scottish. Hey, Auntie. Hi, Ryan. So we're talking about, once again, we're gonna bring it for you guys, fetishization and sexualization. On our first walk talk of the year, we had unwanted advances, and that was when I kind of mini docked someone out a little bit about unwanted advances. Well, like I said, I've said it before. I got messages from people that he interacts with, and they appreciated that I came forward and said something because they said she's exactly that, a predator. Right. So I encourage you to ask somebody, and I say
look
something.
At all the love.
Say something, sir.
Yes.
As long as we're having people engage and we're bringing awareness and people aren't feeling alone, which is the worst way to feel, especially in your sexual situation. Mm-hmm. Hallelujah, we're going to be here. So I think let's talk about sexualization. Just when you are getting on social media, let's talk about that for now. So when you're getting likes and you're getting, like, I'm frying up meatballs and trying to make a carbless pizza with a pepperoni crust. And it's just like,
Making me hungry.
Oh, it's in there, girl. I will, everybody knows here, I will feed you if you come to my house. Like we have some blueberries and cheeses and things in there. Either way. So the sexualization of anything. Mm-hmm. Me and my boyfriend last night were watching a Prince video. We were watching Seven, the wonderful Prince. Oh, Seven, and we'll watch them fall. Mm-hmm. Look it up on YouTube. I love this song. Yes. The video, though, so we were watching it with like nerdy eyes and kind of like, making fun of things, and just we were Mystery Science in MS32K. We were Mystery Science theatering it and kind of like making our little jokes about it. And he was like, "Oh my God, sexualized child," and I was like, "You're being so overprotective." And then I look and it's like little kids with like a lot of. And I sound like I'm like a Pizzagate Redditor for Christ warrior or whatever. But these children were sexualized with and it really did. It was
I
like
seen the video.
There was it's been, I mean, it's the super 90s, but we were saying, several people had agreed like that. Like, and this and that, but they're like wearing like full mask and then like that goes into a shirt, and it's all like, I want to say leather, and then on each meeting of the leather crisscrosses, it's a little spike. And then there's like girls that are
very bondage.
It's very bondage. And then the girls like gimpish with holes, if you will. I love everybody very bondage,
Everybody loves the bondage.
A little bondagey. And so anyway, the sexualization of kids happens. The John Benet Ramses.
Oh yes.
The pageantry. Oh my gosh, let's talk about our favorite subject we got into last night. You guys, I'm telling you, we want you guys to start. Hey Ryan. We love that everybody's joining us. We love that people are checking in and they're going to check out tomorrow. Hey, Chrissy, thanks for keeping my beautiful puppy tonight so that we can have such a quiet broadcast. Thank you for the peace. We love you, and we're so excited for your upcoming wonderful wedding with my sweet Michael Vernon friend, and I look forward to it. So back to this. Let's talk about what we discussed the other day, and some of you that are my friends, we discussed purity culture.
Oh gosh. Okay, so
are you ready? Let's push that.
I have a
get us started.
Yes.
Let's get us started.
There
purity
actually
culture.
are a couple of episodes on my podcast about this.
Okay.
Because I can rant about this all day.
So real quick, Summer, tell us about purity culture and what does that mean to you?
Okay, so I'm a preacher's kid.
All right.
From evangelical church. They can call it non-denominational they want.
I
was
knew
there.
I felt warm close to her. I'm just joking.
Yes.
Anyway, right.
So purity culture, it screws you up, man. It fucks with your head.
Okay, so but explain
So
to the people that don't know.
purity
Yeah.
Purity culture is they push the idea of sexual purity, but it generally only applies to girls. Basically, your sole purpose in life is to be a wife and a mommy, and so you have to stay pure for the person who will eventually own you.
I'm gonna take over while you're doing.
Otherwise known as a husband.
Hey, Sean.
And
Hey, guys.
and
Hey, man. Hey, bro.
and
Bobby.
now, as we're moving through time, sometimes now the boys are being told, "Oh yeah, you should probably stay pure too, just because so it doesn't complicate."
Keep it dry.
Maybe
a little.
Maybe, but there's no shame. There's nothing. He can just say, "I'm sorry."
To guys.
Right, but it's
girls.
Not, right, because you're taught that you're useless and worthless if you have sex, because nobody wants something that's all used up.
Mm-hmm.
Those are actual phrases that they use repeatedly.
All used up.
All used up, and there's like lots of different. There's lots of different illustrations.
My hero B. Arthur would say.
Oh yes, I love her. And well, so what happens is when you are growing up with this religious teaching from birth, is you're not learning to look at girls and women as people. They are objects for your purposes, to be your wife, to be the mother of your children, to do what you want. And so purity culture is foundational to rape culture. It is foundational to a lot of abuse that happens in this, because ultimately the man is the head of the family, and so she's expected to do what he says, and if he beats on her, that's because she's not a godly woman, and all of these things.
So this is like really truly making excuses for abuse culture.
Well, absolutely, and you're actually taught. I have witnessed pastors telling women to keep praying,
Marty girl,
and to keep praying, and if you are doing what God wants, if you are being a godly woman, God will change him, and he won't abuse you anymore. But you are not allowed to leave him, because that means you are sinful and you're going to hell.
Well, you're giving up,
Yes. This has killed many women.
This is what, absolutely.
And it's hard when you're raised in purity culture to grow up to have a healthy sexuality and to not feel shamed about it or anything like that. So it took me a long time to. Fortunately, I was 17 when I moved out of my parents' house, so I didn't live in that as long as a lot of people do. So I was eventually able to overcome that, but it takes a lot of work, because you've got to deconstruct those ideas in order to actually even have a healthy understanding of sexuality, or that it's normal or natural, and how to express that in a healthy, non-destructive way. So what usually happens is people either, manage to stay pure, as they call it, and which usually results in really early marriage, because they connect the idea of legal marriage, which is a property contract and has nothing to do with relationship.
Absolutely nothing. I agree.
With sex. The two have nothing to do with each other. You're not even required to have sex if you're married. Those two things are totally
it's okay
different.
for your husband to rape you in most states.
In Oklahoma, it is legal as long as it's not. It is only illegal within marriage if it is forceful. So if there's violence, he can drug you and rape you all he wants.
I mean,
he
that's
can
the
rape
thing.
you in your sleep. It's perfectly legal. There's nothing you can do about it. It is not a crime.
Call your state legislators about that. If you'd like to call Kevin Stitt, if you'd like to call any of these people, I don't have anything against those people. I want them to serve us as public servants.
Right. And
but
another
really
thing
do know
is child marriage is legal in 48 states. It is legal in
Explain
Oklahoma.
child marriage to us, and what is a child definition by definition?
By definition, when we talk about child marriage, it is anyone under the age of 18. Anybody who has a minor status. My mother was a child bride. She got married a month after she turned 17. Her father had been saying no for over a year, and he finally conceded because he connected marriage and sex, and they were having sex, so he would rather them just go ahead and get married.
Not live in sin
Yes.
is a word I've heard a lot.
Yes. So, but I have seen girls get married much, much younger. In Oklahoma, a parent can sign for their children to get married starting at the age of 16. Prior to that, it can happen there is no minimum age. It can, as long as it's approved by a judge. And the statute specifically lists if she's pregnant or there's a paternity action. And so a lot of children are being married to grown-ass men because they were raped and got pregnant, and this is the way to fix that.
To remedy a situation.
Yes, is to
you
force
join
her,
people.
You're right. You force her to be married to her
Today's-
rapist. And the problem is, these are minors. They can't get out of the situation. We don't make contracts enforceable upon minors in any other situation. We should not make
Except
a contract.
for the biggest, sorry, but
Right,
the
the biggest
biggest thing
property
of your
contract.
life.
The biggest
Right.
property contract wherein everything they own and will ever own
a
while
bill
they're
of
married
sale
to
for
this-
you.
Exactly.
and your
That's
things.
exactly what it is.
You really
And-
have to look at that, guys,
Mhm.
girls, everybody. I'm not going to be like, oh, this marriage, I've been married. Legally, I've been married 2 different times.
Mhm.
I have no shame about it.
Right.
And divorced, I think I'm
a big
divorced
fan of divorce.
against. I'm a huge fan of
I'm a
divorce.
huge
It's
fan
the
of
best.
divorce.
And my ex-husbands will tell you, we all just love it.
Yes.
So their
great.
wives I'm friends with. It's great. We're gonna come in. Okay, so Scott E. Star. Hey Scott, good topic. I have had it done to me not so long ago. I was in love, or so I thought, which was a mistake. Sure didn't feel good. Therefore, I comprehend the subject well, I think. Thanks a lot, Scott, and really like letting you guys understand.
Right.
And letting us know that we're creating something you understand really means
Yes.
something. So, sexualization when you are an unwanted time when you are made into an object.
Right.
You are made into a piece of meat. Men too, hashtag men too, is not just a female problem. Hey, I'm glad you guys see it. And I'm glad you know that that's our intersection where we're trying to always see. I literally told her, I was like, we're going to have our intersection time, and
Right.
that's when everybody gets met.
I had a friend who I'm still friends with him, but we went out for a little bit, and that was the thing on our first date, because he's a black man, and I guess he doesn't do a whole lot of interracial dating, and that was his first question was, "You're not one of those I only date black guys girls, are you?" Because he had experienced that fetishization
Yes.
of the girls who want to date black guys because of the stereotypes. And so he was concerned about
Yeah.
that. And I'm like, oh,
And the
no, but
yeah.
I understand what you're asking me because I have friends who I've discussed that with. And so they
Right.
do feel that a lot.
So this
as well.
starts to sting a little bit. When things sting, that's when I bring them out and tell you guys, and just I'm like, fuck it. This is what I'm here for, is to say things people don't want to say and talk about things people don't really want to bring forward.
Mhm.
So I have friends that are married to black men that are white or Native or not black women who have chosen, as I have in the past, as a very quote unquote hip hop cultured person, a person that in a Native culture we did not have. The culture that was presented to me was shell shaking. Well, not ponies, but the culture, there was
Right.
ribbon skirt, shell shaking, outfits you can't afford, things that my
Power
parents
culture.
were in one. Yeah, there was a
Yeah.
lot of different, affluence and things I was not. So I kind of just was like, it's like when you can't afford something, you want to do it. You're like, that's just not for me. I'm punk rock. And what that was my little thing. But the deal with, it's just not, it's way different whenever you're able and it's just nothing to you. And I hate to say that, you little got Native kids out there, make sure they know what they have, make sure they know what, that type of stuff that they are in, and they're dancing and things like that, their dancing gear. And they're not out there to have their pictures taken. They're not out there to have, if they don't want a picture taken, let them just say, make sure you teach your kids, doesn't matter if they're Native or not. I don't want my picture taken.
Right.
Thanks. Censor yourself as much as you want to. You don't have to be someone's doll. You don't have to be someone's object ever. Again, no human is an object for sale.
Right?
So back to we talked a little bit about the purity culture, and what
Right.
I was watching YouTubing down the hole, and I was watching about how there's purity balls.
Yes,
Or
which
the-
are creepy.
So purity balls, where a young woman of, usually high school, teenage age, and sometimes they do the repurification after they've started having sex, which
yes, where they
equally-
have to go confess in front of everybody what they've
Right.
done and repent and all
Right.
of this
Ask for
because
forgiveness.
ask for forgiveness for doing something perfectly natural, and then commit to not having sex again.
Well, I'm watching it, and there's these beautiful young women of all races and genders whose fathers are dressed to the nines, like wedding dressed,
Yeah,
dressed
it's
out.
insane.
The fathers are crying, like tears, guys, and sorry, too much like. I'm just trying to have some kind of sympathy and feel where it's coming from. And they're the ones that take the girls, and the girls are like dancing with their dad in their Sunday, and I mean Sunday, triple Sunday best. They are suited and booted. The girls are
those are
dressed.
expensive gowns.
It's
Yeah.
like, and the women are, and they've got them hung on the wall. They're like a wedding. It's like it's supposed to set the tone for your wedding, and that's the BS that they use.
Right, because
setting
you're
the tone.
married to Christ and staying pure
Okay.
for your husband.
Okay, so I don't know about
that's
the Christ Mary thing.
That's
Okay,
a
but
common
that's
thing that in a lot of evangelical circles, that's what they call it. And you'll wear the purity ring. That's why you wear the purity ring, because you're married to Christ until
We learn something every day.
Until God sends your husband that
Okay.
He has made for you. Because there's an entire teaching that God makes people just for each other, and you have to wait until God sends you the one that's just for you. And I'm like, well,
And you're not allowed to test drive anyone before
apparently,
that.
no.
Okay.
I'm sure
We can't
I'm
shop
sure
around.
my created husband, I sent him away because he's boring or something. I don't know.
All right, absolutely, 100%. One part of the purity ball thing I was watching that really, okay, two things struck me. The woman that throws the balls and makes the money off of them and creates the culture and creates the niche for it was like, we want these young women to start to put value. And she didn't physically do the like coming down to her vaginal area, but I do, because it really did. The prostitution dating thing came up for me where it's like, those women are going to think of their vagina, think of their sex, think of their sexuality as a prize to be won.
And only as it connects to that one person. So
and
if they give it to anyone, oh my God, I hate the way they talk about it as it's a gift. It's the most precious gift you have to give is your virginity, which is a made-up term, which is a made-up concept in the first place. Virginity is not a real thing, people.
That sounds like the name of a after-school movie or a movie is like the most precious gift.
But that's
and it's
literally
about your hymen,
right? I know. Well, and the thing is, those men, because of the construct that's set up, fathers. Well, I mean, it's the same thing. It always has been, right? That's why fathers give away the bride, and that's why Naholo women take their husbands' names, because it's rebranding. You're moving from his property to his property. That's literally where that came from. And so you're taught your daughter's sexuality is your property until you give it to him. And so if she's not staying pure, you have failed as a father. Yeah. So you failed as a father and as the spiritual leader of the home.
Hey, Clark.
Purity is absolutely misogynistic.
Yes, Clark. This is why I love Clark.
Absolutely.
It's so true. Clark, you already know, I joke that, 25 good men I know in the world.
There's that many?
There's that many. I think there's that many.
Very good. I've only met a couple of them.
Clark Batson, I can't say enough. I hear he's got a lady, and I just want her to know that she's a beautiful, wonderful person, and he's great. Let's see, Chelsea. Hey, I'm sorry, but that's, I know.
You're right, it is.
So the lady comes up, the woman who throws the balls is like, this is not the young girls marrying their fathers. This is not supposed to be a mock marriage. And it's like, yeah, it is.
Well, it's
visually very obviously.
Well, have you seen the dating rehearsals that they do now? That they're telling moms to take their sons on dates and men to take their.
Why don't you guys do that at the dinner
date.
table and maybe say, hey, this is how someone should never do.
Because they're teaching them to focus on, he brings you flowers and he pulls out your chair.
He gives your value.
Right. And the thing is, you're teaching them to focus on the wrong fucking things. Oh, he treats me nice. He says the right things. He buys me flowers. So it's really not so bad that he knocked me around last night. He said he's sorry. He won't do it again.
I hit him back. I mean, all of us, I think, and I say all, that's why we're here to educate, but that's natural for us to make excuses for ourselves getting hurt.
Yeah, and I laugh because I heard that so much growing up. Is a lot of the women in my family, that's what they say. Well, I gave as good as I got, so it's okay. And I'm like, but you're fucking up your kids, man.
I've said it. I've said it about fighting with my father when I was in. I do, and I will say, I'm like, I have to get a drink. Okay. I should have prepared a drink before as my doctor, and she's back. So we would fight, and the thing is, but I really did. I came for I came for my dad. Like I was
Oh,
a real
really?
firecracker kid, like a real asshole. And bless you guys' heart, Mom, Vicky, Paul, Matt, all my parents' figures. Like I gave him hell, and I didn't give Matt hell. I gave my dad hell because he gave me some structure, and and then sometimes love you, Dad. But let's just all be real. Like we all are learning and moving forward.
Right.
And I mean, to be able to not sponsoring anyone, but
Like cover it up. You're good.
the sad part is I can only have baby caffeine because you guys know me and don't need it. Don't need the hard stuff. So sexualization, I feel like it's when you and I are texting. So we're bisexual or gay women. Da 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 da. Hey Summer, I think that we should really spend some time together and maybe get to know each other better.
Okay.
Neat, fun, great. And then I'm like, and I just can't wait to feel that pussy. Like, whoa! And then I threw the sexualization blanket over you or net over you, where it's like all of a sudden you flip the script and things are wrong. And pardon my little itchy noggin. A lot of the times when you reject, and it's not, I don't want to say it's gender based, but a lot of the time men, when you reject or say, hey, I'm not feeling you, and I don't want to say because of your sexuality necessarily or because of your sex, I don't feel, but at the same time they'll be like, oh, we were dating a man. Well, you're pressing a woman about stuff you're pressing me. Either way, it's just interesting when it's not. You gotta gain that consent. You've got to.
And if I could, I shouldn't have closed my computer. I could show you my Twitter DMs.
I wish sometime I really wish.
And I hate this, and I struggle with this a lot because I don't post very many photos of myself on there because there will inevitably be an onslaught of strange men who who either make creepy comments on them or send me DMs about how good I'm looking.
Slide up in your DMs.
The girls look good. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? I posted the screenshots of this one because I'm like, I'm sorry, what?
I love your screenshot posts, by the way. Please,
because
always.
I'm like, for real?
Summer's
I don't
gonna be
know
tagged.
you.
If you want her to be a friend, send her a message that says, I saw you on Carmen's show, and then she'll friend you from there. Because it's really hard for us to know from all of the friend requests.
Or you can go, my website is summerwesley.com, and all of my social medias are linked on there, so you can follow me on Twitter, my Facebook page, my podcast, all of that. So
she's got her stuff together a lot more than we do here at the Walk Talk Show. We're getting things together.
Right. But yeah, it's really weird, and why they feel okay and entitled to do that to somebody they don't know, that they've never talked to. I'm like, does he think that works? Which reminds me, do unsolicited dick pics ever get a guy laid? Why the fuck do you guys do that?
Has anyone ever had a dick pic you sent to a girl or a boy that they were just like, let me come jump on that, I'm here?
Right, somebody that you're not already hooking up with, like a stranger. Why do y'all do that?
If I send you a picture of my open butthole and vagina,
I'll be like, nice wax, Cameron.
That's true. You'd be like, hey, look, Carmen's wax is awesome. Check this out, guys, because apparently she wants everybody to see it. And so my favorite is, I think, Ashley Crawford, and I think she'll say it here in a second if she hasn't, her best, did you hear her suggestion for us?
What was that?
Send one back.
Oh, yes, I did.
So
I'm going to start doing that.
Stored dick pic on your phone.
Yes.
And then just dish out what they gave you.
If any of my guy friends that I already have photos of want to consent to that, to me using your photo, let me know. I will send it to them.
Like a real.
Chelsea says they really do think it works, which makes me wonder where they get that shit from. I don't know.
Is it like their dads were like, there's a thing called the internet, and if you send a woman a picture of your hong on there, apparently they're really gonna dig you.
Right. Like, why do you open with that? Like, it's really not that hard. There's a lot of us who are really,
I'm like a nasty, dirty, locker talking bitch.
Right? Like, just talk to me for a second, and if I'm interested, you will know. I will tell you.
You'll get a naked picture soon enough. Like, I mean,
check the internet. I'm sure I'm there.
You just have to Google my name, and you'll get. I'm covered in paint, but hey.
Oh, really?
I did a shot when I was black painted. My good friend Ryan Jeffrey Rhodes is now a home. You should just Google Carmen Marie. I'm gonna have. This is something that I've had It's something I made a decision to do, was start doing burlesque modeling.
Oh, I want to do
And
burlesque.
I've got an interesting, we'll talk
We
burlesque.
have to talk about this
I
after
know
the
the
show.
queens of burlesque, Miss Lou Fox, Miss Kit Kat Cadillac.
Also, penis
Miss-
pictures are not attractive. You're right, they're not. They're
Thank
not
you.
pretty to look at. Why are you sending it to me?
Yeah, I think everybody can agree that usually dick pics are not hot.
I mean, cash out me some money and you got a better shot, but
Miss-
dick pics are not going to
Many
work.
Miss Carmen's cash apps. Send it here.
Just curious,
Angie.
this is regarding people you don't know messaging. Yes, not
Oh yeah, unsolicited.
I mean, I get
no,
pictures
we nasty
from-
pics from consenting, and
Right, that's
we're
different.
all about adult consent here.
Yes.
Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do. So yeah, she's googling, and I'm like,
I'm
we're
trying
gonna
my
bring it up,
computer
and then
went to sleep.
we can turn the computer on, because I really don't. I think that my parents received a lot of shame.
Really?
Oh gosh, yeah.
I don't think my parents know about any of my boudoir photos that are
Right.
online, so hopefully they don't watch this.
Right, and if
And-
they do, welcome to the real world, and it's
If they
okay. You have a
do-
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Well, if you guys tell them, then all of their pain and suffering is your fault. So there you
That's
go.
on you.
Feel guilty.
That's on you. My dad recently back then was the best person about it. And the funny thing is some like random woman got on one of my pictures on MySpace.
Oh, really?
And it was right after Vicky. Hey, Jerome. Hey, shout out to Shots Tulsa, stopping harm on Tulsa streets. Thanks, Angie. We're going to talk about the Saturday thing before we log off too, Jerome. Don't let me forget. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I just, yeah. So whenever I decided to do this, it was really hard because I was like, oh my gosh, what's the tribe going to think? What are my parents going to think? What are the kids from school that thought these things that would be right? And, I kind of am like, I was probably doing a little I was probably doing some drugs at the time, so I was very skinny.
Okay.
I was probably doing a little cocaine at the time.
That'll make you skinny.
This was a pre-2008 recession.
Okay.
System living the high life,
Right.
and I'm not talking about necessarily the champagne and beers high life. I was rolling real high and thinking I was really cool, and what I was doing was abusing my body that could have been ultra healthy, changing my hours. And I mean, I'm not an abstinence from drugs person. I don't think that's not my path for people to have to follow. I think it's best that you find at some point and relax. But yeah, I just did. So yeah, let's see. We're gonna have to go to images first. Okay, so we're going real quick, and it really shows a lot of beautiful brown women under my first and middle name.
She's gorgeous. I love her hair.
And it's like, it's nice, but I mean, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's definitely. And if it's funny because it used to come up really quick, and I'm like, part of me feels a little like, oh, and then part of me is like, awesome, they're getting deeper.
I was gonna say we could post the link and this jump those analytics.
Well, I've had people that really are like, well, the sad part is, oh, I just saw one come up.
Go ahead,
Maybe a face tweet. Yeah, bring it down. I want to know our questions. We're just doing this as kind of filler. Oh, here we go.
Toma.
Freddie
Hi,
Gore.
Toma.
Hey, Matt Varmicki, how are you? Hey, Toma. Hey, Freddie. There's one that got me a lot of shit.
Gorgeous.
We're gonna give this a shout out to that
skinny.
specific, real skinny.
Real
But
skinny.
that's me. That's me. You can probably find that. There you go. Probably find that one online. I can tell you this was shot in, I want to say maybe like 2004. And I can't say I was doing drugs, but I'm going to go ahead and just give it to drugs in case. And Ryan tried to check me. Don't worry, we were roommates. He's my only, he and Western Doty are the only two people that have ever photographed me fully naked.
Scott. I have several female friends or romances that tell me they get lots of unsolicited dick pics. We do.
Lots.
From people I know.
Can I get some smiley faces or some reactions from the 7 people in the room?
Right.
Do you get them? Have you always, or do you know people, or do your girlfriends?
I do.
What do you guys think? All the time.
I was shocked by the
Not anymore so much.
I don't as much anymore now that I have started posting screenshots of my DMs.
That's a real good way.
I've never posted any of those photos in my DMs, but I should.
That's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
We're gonna get this going, guys. Anybody who wants to. Okay, here we're getting a
lots of them
smile, laugh.
laughing.
Yes, wow. Okay.
See, none of these were too bad.
Oh,
I
That's
love that
hot.
photo. I printed that and hung it on my bedroom wall. I love it.
You should. You know what? Several women I know have their own burlesque pictures in their bedroom, and I love
I
it.
do. I have one wall.
I really
That's
should
my
print
photos.
one of those out.
That's my. I have like this one. Some of my boudoir photos. I've got a topless shot that I did as a self-portrait series in 2015 or.
We should trade our boudoir pictures and then like dress them up and give them back to each other as like,
cool.
but something you would feel like guilty about doing for yourself. Like I'm embellishing. Like I would do like gold around your legs, maybe some little lace and blip. You already know.
Yeah.
Anyhow, guys, give us your last questions. We really do want to. Gosh, you don't know how we would love to just sit here and stay up on a cup, brew a pot of coffee. We will talk to a pile of sand that's just there.
I mean, we're still going to talk when y'all are gone. So
this isn't over. We might as well be on here. Let's see. We really want to figure out how to nullify sexualization immediately. You can ask someone I don't want to be seen that way. I don't want to be addressed that way. You can dictate the laws of your boundaries. I get those, Angie. I get those partners from picture. I get those pics from guys I actually know from high school, which is sorry, don't care for all. Even worse, I know is they married to girls I know. Do you ever? Hi, Donna.
It's a lot more likely from married men, honestly. The majority I get.
I feel like they're more bored, and then I feel like the women should know, but you don't. So I have made what I feel is a good decision in the end, but I did out a guy who was cheating on his ill wife, a very bad situation that I judged to be, and she got almost caused self-harm over it, and it really would have been a bad situation, but in that moment I felt she had to know because of her sickness. He could have brought something home to her physically. So I, not pleading for, I don't need your approval. So I feel like what I did is good. They're not together anymore. Life has changed for both of them. They're raising their kids, whatever. But I really think that you need to assess both people's health. I think
health is important,
and mental health and awareness. And
Hi,
if they can, hey guys that are just joining, Laura Palmer. Hey Sarah, what's going on? Matriarchs in the house. We've had so many join in with us. So we're just like Googling pictures and checking out the way people can be. I know, right? I'm like, if you dig deep, they'll be in there. But those were all done by Ryan Jeffrey Rhodes at the old fur shop. And we did one where I was with the outfit. So it got put into Urban Tulsa. We were doing this photo thing called 11th Grace using a lesson that were known for other things. I was known as like a skateboarder or roller skater and a DJ, and that was kind of why we did all that stuff, and then an artist. And so I did a completely nude, completely covered in black acrylic paint.
Oh yeah, that was the one we were looking for. I didn't find it.
Yeah, we'll find it, but it looks even birdier and skinnier because I'm all in black paint. Right. It's really, but it came out beautiful. Ryan's an amazing photographer. We're still friends. He's going to be my next podcast friend that I do a podcast with. It's not this one. Scott, I love Scott. He's helping us tonight. Most of the ones that I was told about high school friends that were not also married, not cool. That's the thing. It's just like creepy people.
To me, the being married have nothing to do with it. It's just not cool because it's not consensual.
Right.
Like if I did not say it's okay for you to send me that, I don't want to see it.
Exactly. I don't care if your wife's sitting there and like jilling off like next to you.
She might be okay with it. I mean,
she might be the one having him solicit it.
Right. Maybe so. Yeah. See, this is my.
Oh my gosh!
The episode of me being.
And I even think that's in like natural.
This is Selena. This is my co-host.
Okay, actually, I know her.
Yes.
I know her. I just think that if you feel comfortable,
we got more criticism for those photos than any of the podcast topics we've had. The criticism was you shouldn't be catering to male gaze. And I was like, both of those photos were taken for us, not for men.
Clark, I just got your text, and yes, I know about Miss Mary from Kansas City. Okay, if you wanted to say, you should have. What is it? If you wanted to tie it, you should have brought a bigger dick.
Amen.
Love you, Clark Batson.
Yeah,
thank you for sending it. We're just outing here. I'm gonna do it.
Well, I mean, it's online anyway.
Yeah. Hello, beautiful. Hello, confident.
For a photo, this was one of my podcast episodes, and it was about me, and so we used a photo of me. But it was an artistic decision because the whole thing was about being vulnerable. It was very hard, and so we used this photo. And then Felina did something similar on her episode, and we got more criticism, and it was all from women. about how you shouldn't cater to the male gaze. I'm like, neither of these photos were taken for
That's
men.
for me.
These were taken for us
Right.
because we liked the way we looked and the way we felt in these situations. Because I was being a test model for a friend who was
Awesome.
trying out different boudoir
It's
stagings
beautiful.
and stuff. And I was like, none of this not all female nudity is for men. Like, you at this moment are objectifying us and sexualizing us as women. Just because you can see a little skin doesn't make it sexual.
Right. In the Victorian, it was your ankles and this
Right?
and that. Like, let's
Don't
just
show my ankles.
stop.
Oh,
You're
yes.
not
I used to
better.
date a guy that always wanted, because everything I wear is cut like this because I have
I've always
sensory
seen you,
issues.
yeah.
And if anything's up
Same.
here, like crew necks, I feel like I'm strangling. I can't deal with it. So it's got to be cut down.
It was me.
And no, it's not just
I
you.
cut
In
the
fact,
next shirt.
yes.
I think we've both seen each other in
Mhm.
t-shirts with like
Yeah,
ribbon
cut 'em out
skirts,
all the
and you gotta
time.
cut that out and
Mhm.
maybe shorten the sleeves.
And I've met lots of women like that. But I had a guy I dated who wanted me to cover up to him. I'm like, you're going to have to go find somebody else because I can't do that. And I'm not going to change the way I dress for you. First of all, I dressed like this when you found me. So
Before you,
obviously you didn't have a
during
problem
you,
with
and
it.
after you,
Exactly.
I'm gonna dress
I'm like,
this way.
is what I like. It doesn't matter what you like. I'm like, it's
Right.
cute that you think it does.
That's so
But it doesn't
sweet
matter.
that you think so much of yourself.
Right? Like, that's adorable. Oh, sweetie.
Dwarves you've developed. So guys, we're so happy you joined us tonight. We hope the idea of fetishization, which is the recognition and exploitation of someone through the stereotypes about their race. I can see their jaw, pardon me with my allergies. Like, the woman welder that's got, her arms up to here when you damn well need your sleeves down to here. You know what I mean? Just the sexualization of the race car driver. I have a Dickies outfit that's like a work outfit, and it's for sexy photo shoots, and it goes from here past my navel on the zipper, has short sleeves and shorts, and it's like, this isn't for that.
Really well equipped
And
for the job site, aren't you?
Right. It's like if the job site is a pole.
Right.
Strip club, which it might well be, and I
Which
would
is
make
fine.
a lot of money and do great. Shout out to all my strippers out there making lots of money. Go make the money.
If I were in better shape, I would probably go back.
I would have no problem. I really actually thought about my burlesque friends who are doing a lot of dancing.
Yes,
we want you
I
guys to
do
check
burlesque.
out burlesque in your city. If you're not in Tulsa, we've got an awesome scene here. Check it out. Liberate your mind, free your mind. It's not about seeing naked people dancing. It's about letting people express themselves. Don't send
There's a lot of
unsolicited
art
dick
burlesque.
pics.
Oh, please, never.
Wait for that magic moment when
Yes.
someone wants it and says, "Hey, I want to
I
see
can
that D." Hey, Kendra, by the way, when I want to see that D, hey, Monica, hey,
came in at a
Steve.
very strange
guys.
time.
We're like not necessarily out of time, but we don't want to take up your whole night. Does anybody have any last questions we want to talk about fetishization, sexualization? The idea, I use sexualization in the same way the literary term characterization is used by giving human traits to inanimate objects or animals or non-human things. Brave little toaster style.
All right.
I think that sexualization is giving a sexual connotation to someone who wasn't originating the idea of sexuality. Wasn't trying for it. Right. Or at the very beginning lets you know that's not what I'm trying to do. Fetishization is when you use someone's stereotype or something about their race, creed, identification to create your niche for them.
Oh,
hey, Robert Kurtz. Hey, Kendra again. More matriarchs. I think opinions are everywhere. And if you take pictures, photos, and consensually, they're not super nasty with your legs apart, no panties. To me, who cares about what you think? We're with you on that one.
I'm with you. In fact, even if they are that graphic,
if it's
consensual, great. I'm not gonna lie. There
camera.
Are videos out there of me in all sorts of ways nobody wants to see. That's not involved in that.
You know what? Yes, they do. They do.
Okay, they probably do, but they need to pay me if they're gonna see that. That's right. And if you're consenting adults, that's great. But don't be sending that to people who don't have
just if they
asked.
don't ask for it, and it's like you're talking initially, and you just started talking. That you don't even have their phone number, and it's like wham! There's my dick laid on a dish towel.
Or even I had a guy who started talking to on Twitter, we were actually having conversation, right? And Twitter DMs are hard to,
They're
like,
hard.
bang, the
It's
notifications don't come in on time.
Oh,
So I'm like,
I bet,
okay, let me
right?
give you my number so we can text. So we were talking, that was fine. And then, you know, over time, every now and then I get a, you know, hi, how are you, or what, or a question or whatever. Fine. Then out of nowhere, he's like, can you send me a picture of you? And I mean, he's not asking for a nude or something, but seriously, we don't have that kind of relationship. He's like,
Oh, no,
just
you
a
like
smile,
that?
a pic. That's exactly what I sent back to him. I
You
said,
said
I don't know
that's
you like
the thing.
that.
I don't know you like that.
Mm-mm.
You, if you want girls and guys tonight, I want you to write down a boundary paper. Hey, Rita. Hey, Terry. Mwah. I want you to start writing down some things that are ways to say no that make you feel comfortable. You might not. I'm a fuck no. Thanks a lot. Get the fuck out of my face. Or a no thanks. If you know me, I always I'm like hello. When I come in a room, I'm just kind of I'm trying. I'm really just getting through it, and I'd like to get a little deeper usually. So I'm trying to get through the formalities and small talk and things like that. But I really do want to connect with people, and I want to feel it. But I can't with everybody. Hey, Deb, we're so lucky to
Deb,
have Miss
Sajan.
Degak. Hello, Auntie. Hello, Sajan. I'm glad to see you, girl. Let's get together. And hi, Rita. We've been talking today about fetishization, sexualization, and specifically in our culture with Native women, this is causing, and this is a precursor to rape culture,
Right.
and it's
Causes
creating
violence.
the sexualization of someone who wasn't wanting to be sexualized. That sexualization can turn into you being used as a sexual object. That can turn into, that is traumatic to someone who doesn't want it. I had this happen to me in several occasions that we'll bring up later, and some of the people that just joined talked to me about those things, and I really,
Right.
really, really always will appreciate that. And sometimes just being recognized and heard, and for you hearing my stories and for
That's
coming all the
important.
way, it's so important.
I'm glad you invited me. I appreciate it.
I want you guys to check out our tags. I want you to go back. Oh wait, we've got a pretty
comments.
long. Carmen, you know my hair. So what's with the hipsters getting tats of Native women with
Oh my
braids?
God.
Oh, we could go on. In fact, go on. And I want
It's more of that
I saw one.
fetishization. Like, we're an object, we're an aesthetic. We're not real people to them. And that's why
we're
it contributes
a badge
to
or
violence.
a stamp or a cartoon.
Right, a caricature.
A caricature.
And that's why it contributes to
like
violence.
a Dave
because
Matthews Fire Dancer
Right.
bullshit. Like, really?
Yeah. And it's easier to be violent to people or to disregard them or their consent if they're not really a person in your mind, if they're an object.
As the FBI and as women's harm reduction advocates tell you, humanize yourself. If you're ever abducted, if
Right.
you're ever hurt, if you're ever in a situation, you shouldn't have to talk your way out of a rape. But if you do find yourself in a situation, specifically as a woman or identifying as a woman with a man that's trying to hurt you, and this is something I've employed, it has worked and it hasn't worked. Someone who's violent and wanting to get to you is going to. But you employ the idea of, don't you have a mother, a sister, an auntie? Would you treat them like this? Is this something you would do? And letting them try to really process that as a human.
That you're a person.
I mean, first you want to yell for help. First you want to do whatever you need to get safe. But by any means necessary.
Yeah, whatever you have to do to survive. And don't ever feel guilty for whatever it is you had to do to survive.
If you had
to just
stomp
concede
on baby puppies, it's okay. You had to get out of there.
That's what you have to do.
What you had to do. 100% support. You're always going to find support from either of us online as fast as we can get to you. I really want to talk about on the 27th here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the organization I belong to and am very, very involved with lately, and I plan on staying that way, is SHOTS, Stopping Harm on Tulsa Streets, SHOTS. If you'd like to go on, Jerome Philpott, who is on our has joined in today. He's one of the heads of this organization and someone I've been friends with over 20 years. This is a specific group for harm reduction, sexual harm reduction, and then we work with needle exchange. We have a needle delivery system. It's completely free. We give out condoms by the thousands. We have the most important thing I think right now that we're doing. We have 10 confirmed reversals of overdoses this year, shots.
Oh, wow. Yes.
10 people
Great.
did not die this year. Thank you, shots. This Saturday, hey, Ange, this Saturday from 5 to 7, we're going to be at the Bound for Glory Books location at 11th and Vandalia. That's 1 block west of Yale on 11th. Look up Bound for Glory Books Tulsa. And then we're going to have Adrian Gilly playing guitar, I believe, and singing. We're going to have Desi and Cody there. We're going to have, I mean, it's kind of a big thing. We've got several comedians. I might grab a mic and do a comedy set. Like, we're going to have so many different resources there. There's a lot of different sponsors. Look it up. I'm going to post it on here. Shots is helping people by giving out fentanyl testing strips. If you're not familiar with fentanyl, PH or F, fentanyl, NYL, or carfentanil, these are deadly drugs that are being put, thank you for the love, being put in drugs that are ones I have used, and this and that. They're being put in cocaine. Prince died because he was getting Vicodin. So if it can hit Prince, it can hit you.
Anybody.
We get these strips and we give them to people for free. I can literally right now, I love this because it's so neat. Run over here like I did with the Dr. Pepper, and if Summer were to pass out because of Shots Tulsa, if Summer were to pass out with an opiate overdose, as quickly as you saw that inside of my giant bucket purse, which is very full, I have 2 administrable doses of Narcan, naloxone that would save your life. Up your nose with a rubber hose, push it in.
Super easy.
If that doesn't wake you back up your nose again. And I literally have 2 shots at saving Summer's life, whether or not she shot up heroin that has carfentanil or fentanyl in it, or whether or not she had dental surgery this last week, took 1 Percocet, made her feel a little too good, took a nap, woke up and took another one. That made her forget she took another one.
Right.
Just like grandma can do. Any human being you know in your life that has opiates in their house, opiates in their family, opiates in their life, get a hold of me or get a hold of Shots Tulsa, and we will get you. We are trained with naloxone. We will train you on this. I want it to get close to the camera so you can see it. Narcan, naloxone, HCl nasal spray. We want to have at least 2 on you at all the time. You can do up to 10. I just got trained, thank you, Hannah Fields. I just got trained on intramuscular, which is much like administering an EpiPen, which I have mine in my bag. I am a street medic, and I encourage everyone to understand harm reduction. Harm reduction, I need to grab the paper. I have the paper. And I should have put the paper, but
Okay.
you know, where did it go?
All right. While you're gone, I just want to acknowledge Angie's comment about dehumanizing yourself with your rapist. She said our kidnapper rapist was not hearing anything from you. That's true. It's not going to work for everybody. My first rapist, who was the most violent, was actually a sadistic psychopath. So no amount of humanizing was going to work, and he enjoyed hurting you. So
sometimes the sexual sadist is literally what they get off on is your pain.
He could not stay hard unless he was hurting you.
Wow.
So the
I'm
only
sorry
way
for
to
wow, but I'm so sorry.
No, it is. That's everybody's response is the shock. And so literally the only way to not get killed was to just not do anything.
Or to show that you're in pain. And
well, no, he enjoyed it, so he would just prolong it. So you just stop fighting, let it happen until he couldn't take it anymore, and then he left.
That hits home in the way of you're so strong, and you never need to be treated that way. And if you are being treated that way, reach out to us.
Please
reach out to someone and get help. There's always going to be a way out for you, even if it feels like there's not. The kids, blah blah blah, this and that. We will help. We are an underground railroad for men and women. Anyone in? So I want to read this paper because a lot of people don't understand the principles of harm reduction. Harm reduction is a set of practical strategies and ideas aimed at reducing negative consequences associated with drug use in the case of Shots Tulsa. Harm reduction is also a movement for social justice built on belief in and respect for the rights of people who use drugs. Be it steroids, people. Be it intravenous drugs, intramuscular drugs, dimethyltryptamine, DMT, everybody's new favorite thing to hip you out and talk about, is usually intramuscularly injected. Ouch. However, harm resistance, HRC, considers the following principles central to harm reduction practice. We accept for better or worse that illicit licit and illicit drug use is part of our world and chooses to work to minimize its harmful effects rather than to simply ignore or condemn them.
Right.
Instead of abstinence culture, we are trying
Which
to
doesn't
teach
work.
harm reduction culture because it just doesn't work. Similar to sex, people are going to have sex. Let's use condoms. Let's use information, and that's going to help rather than
Let's get tested.
saying
Let's be safe.
don't do it. I think that's playing into that cleanly. What do we call it? The cleanly culture, the purity culture.
Yeah.
Understands drug use, and this is for us as a harm reduction consultant. I understand drug use as a complex, multifaceted phenomenon that encompasses a continuum of behaviors from severe abuse to total abstinence. It acknowledges that some ways of using drugs are clearly safer than others. I establish quality of the individual and community life and well-being, not necessarily cessation of all drug use, as the criteria for successful intervention and policies. I call for non-judgmental, non-coercive provisions of services and resources to people who want to use drugs and the communities in which they live in order to assist them in reducing attendant harm. Ensures that the drug users in the history of drug use routinely have a real voice in the creation of programs and policies designed to serve them. Imagine that. Affirm drug users themselves as primary agents of reducing the harm for their drug use. It is your responsibility, and seeks to empower users to share information and support each other with strategies that meets their actual conditions of use, rather than having to soften it up, make it seem less than it is. The first step, if you are, or you know someone using intravenous drugs, get them a 2-liter pop bottle and clean it out for them. If you need to, it can be dirty, as long as they can cap it up without having someone be stabbed through by the needles. That's the best thing, the first thing you can do. You wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe it if you have someone in your life. Also, I recognize that the realities of poverty, class, racism, social isolation, past trauma, sex-based discrimination, other social inequalities affect both people's vulnerability to and capacity for effectively dealing with drug-related harm. And I don't attempt to minimize or ignore the real and tragic harm associated with illicit and licit drug use. So just so you know, I just want to help you do everything legally. I want to help you do everything safely. And I'm not going to try to coerce you one way or another. No judgment. We can have things delivered. We now have a mail system to mail Narcan, fentanyl strips, what we call cook caps, which are what you heat up. You see people using old soda cans and bottles. If you don't want people using places that you use, you need to advocate for safe use spaces. And this is something we're seeing in Canada, we're seeing in the Eastern Bloc, we're seeing in places you don't want to see people on the street using drugs. Give them a place too.
Right. It's hard here in the Bible Belt
Thank
because
you.
addiction
Thanks, Chelsea.
is often seen as a moral failing
Air hugs
instead
to
of
you.
a medical issue.
Hi, Ross. Well, I really love that you gave me the time to really go over harm reduction. Once again, guys, the principles of harm reduction. I can get a copy of this sent to you.
Okay.
Look for Andrea Haddox, Hadox. And this Saturday at Bound for Glory Books. Wait, it's not. That's where we always meet.
Okay.
I will share a giant poster for our big thing this weekend. There's going to be a coffee house on your street, which is like the most amazing pies and cakes and coffee and stuff.
Okay.
So we will all be there. Everyone's invited, all ages, family friendly. Thanks for letting us do an hour and 25 minutes today.
Yes.
Summer came all the way from the 405. It's an hour and a half drive, and she's got to get home tonight. So thank you guys. Nawa, and I appreciate everyone coming and keeping showing up. When we show up, we're going to be able to do something together, and we'll take any last questions. Hi, Rhonda. I'll see you tomorrow, Rhonda. Hey, Justin. It's good to see you. We're just talking about harm reduction principles. If you guys would like, I'd love it if you'd rewind to the first of this and take a look throughout, skip forward if it doesn't apply or if we're being too silly or gross for you. Always inbox me and send me or DM me or whatnot. DM anything you need for summer, look at her page. Go and check it out. We're going to link everything up tonight or tomorrow. Thanks for joining us every other Thursday. If we can start doing it every Thursday, someday we will. Next week, I'm going to have a lovely woman of color of the Nubian descent. And I say next week, I mean next show. We almost got confused, and
Yes,
it was so
she told
wonderful.
me last week.
I told her it would be last week, and I was like, whoops, hey, sorry about that. Make sure you aren't already half past the turnpike. So either way, I was about to have to shell out some turnpike and gas money because it would have been my fault. So own your mistakes, own your beauty, and own your inside of your heart, and keep everything happy and pure. We're working on an MMIW and MMIP awareness for Miss Aubrey that has been missing for months. I love you too, Clark. Rock on. Bro, I love you guys. You're my brothers and sisters, aunties and uncles, family, and thank you for coming to my aid and coming whenever I need you to chime in. And thank you so much for being here, Miss
Thank you for
Summer.
having me.
And shout out to your wonderful son that brought you here. We always shout out to our studio audience. And let us know, inbox us anything you'd like to know. And I love the rest of the week. I end up getting reactions to the videos.
Oh, great.
And you will too.
They can always contact me, like I said, through my website or find the social media and go for it.
We're going to do it.
I'm
We're going
around.
to check you out on Twitter. The one thing I want to make sure that everybody is able to know is that when the hosts, your duty will be to go through and answer the rest of these, whenever these questions come through.
Okay.
You're the one that addresses them back.
Okay.
If you'd like to be on Walk Talks, or you know someone that would like to be on here, let us know. We want to thank our sponsors again. And thank you so much for being here tonight, guys. And thank you for taking a time out to learn and grow with us. Peace, Mama. This is where we wait awkwardly for us to stop our video. She's like, it's down there. She's my new tech assistant. All right. Have a great night, guys. Bye. Take care.
You can contact the podcast at brokebrokenpodcast@gmail.com. The Broken Podcast can be found on Twitter @BrokeBrokenShow, on Instagram and Facebook @BrokeBrokenPodcast.